I like to play pranks, and I like to have pranks played on me too. I laugh at myself when I'm being able to do that.
Taking note of that. We'll play a prank on Doug pretty soon.
The Bible talks about as, making sure you're not a lone ranger. Man sharpens man, iron sharpens iron. There's nothing new under the sun. Somebody's probably passed this way before. To be a lifelong learner, I think, is probably one of the most important things that I think you can do. Hi, my name is Doug Bing. I'm conference president for the Washington Conference, and I serve as the leader of this conference, hoping to vision and shoot for the stars when it comes to sharing Jesus Christ through this territory.
Favorite color?
Red.
Favorite sport?
Football.
What book are you currently reading?
The Bible.
Favorite movie?
Chariots of Fire.
Favorite song at the moment?
Silent Night.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Favorite type of food?
Italian.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs all the way.
Do you prefer texting or talking on the phone?
Talking on the phone.
Dream vacation destination?
Fiji.
Current hobby?
Reading.
Do you prefer hot chocolate or tea?
Tea.
Favorite season of the year?
Fall.
Favorite TV show?
Andy Griffith.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Favorite Bible verse?
John 3:16.
Do you prefer the beach or the mountains?
Mountains.
What's your favorite city you've visited?
San Antonio.
Something you've always wanted to try? Time is up. And we have a new first place.
Told you.
On the table. What do you think are some keys to a successful life?
To be a lifelong learner, I think, is probably one of the most important things that I think you can do. Always reading, learning, being mentored by people, to never think that you've learned everything you're supposed to learn. I think there's mentors in different territories. I think that you can find mentors of people that are in your own area of expertise, and then there's also mentors of other people that are in other areas of work. And when you're a lifelong learner, you start looking around and saying, I want to go ask that guy some questions, and just be bold to go ask somebody questions about what is happening there in their lives and how did they get there.
What is something that makes Doug laugh?
I like to laugh about a lot of things, actually. I like to laugh at myself when I make, mistakes. I like a good joke. I like practical jokes, which is probably not a good thing, but I do like them.
You're a jokester? Pranks?
I like to play pranks, and I like to have pranks played on me too. I laugh at myself when I'm being able to do that. So,
taking note of that. We'll play a prank on Doug pretty soon. What is a perfect day for Doug?
Perfect day. Wow, that's an interesting one. I like to work in the garden, relaxing with my wife at the beach or in the mountains. With the new grandbaby coming along, I'm looking forward to spending time with my grandbaby, and those types of things I think will be fun.
Nice. You talked about a garden. Did you grow anything this last season, or what do you look forward to growing next season?
Every year I like to try to grow different things. We had specialty potatoes that we grew this year, which was kind of fun.
I think you're done. Then you completed the pineapple.
I did.
With 10 seconds to spare, do you mind showing the camera your finished pineapple?
All right.
Are you ready to see what you're gonna do?
Not really, but seems like it's a choice. So
there is no choice, and this is what you're doing.
Oh my goodness. Okay. None of those colors are here.
Exactly. Yeah. What would you say is an experience that has shaped who you are today in your life?
An experience that has shaped who I am, I think, I grew up in a family that was hardworking, Midwestern folk, and I was taught the value of ethics really young by my parents. I think that working on a farm, growing up, my grandfather was a cattle rancher, those types of things. And I think all of those things were things that just good earth type of things that I think were important to me and was important to my family. The value of education, my parents, neither one have education, but they valued education. They sacrificed deeply for my sister and I to have education as well. And between my sister and I, we have probably a few too many college degrees, but it was clearly a value that was instilled as, hey, we wanted an education, they couldn't afford it, and so they really drove it into our mind that this is what we're going to have is you're going to be educated, and so I think that was one of the things that was helpful to me, was just this drive to once again be a lifelong learner, like I mentioned before. My dad, who I consider one of the smartest people in my world, doesn't have a degree, but he's incredibly intelligent, and I've just really appreciated learning from both my parents. My mom was one of those too that I just really appreciated.
What would you say are some of the most important values for you as an individual?
Well, for me, I think a daily walk with God is something I think is important. My parents had family worship every night. I think service is important to me. I was in a family that if there was the church doors were open, we were going to go. It was at times it was annoying, to be honest with you, because I didn't always want to go.
Yeah.
But if the church doors were open, we were required to go to church, whether it was a work bee, whether it was an evangelistic meeting, whatever. That's where we went. I look at that back now and I'm thinking to myself, that was kind of a good thing. I didn't always like it at the time, to be honest with you, but it was a good thing because you had to think outside of yourself. You were helping other people, and I remember one time I was on the roof of a house that we were tearing down at the academy. I remember the conference president at the time. I didn't even know really who he was, but because I was probably only 13, 14 years old, but I found out there's a conference president and I were on the roof together tearing shingles off. And I'm thinking, I really admire that dude, because here he was, showed up and started helping us, and was chatting and talking and just was a real down-to-earth kind of guy. And I think that, he didn't put on airs. And I think that was really valuable to me to see how, this great leader who I thought of as and admired as a leader was treating, just common folk like us.
Yeah, learning lessons where you thought sometimes you saw it as a drag, but there was a lesson to be learned.
Yeah, you look back on it now and it was like, wow, that was really impactful. I remember going home and saying, was that guy the conference president? And my dad goes, yeah. He's like, yeah, he was up there helping us. And I just thought to myself, to me, that was really cool.
How do you handle challenges and obstacles?
I think that's, the Bible talks about as, making sure you're not a lone ranger. Man sharpens man, iron sharpens iron, and it talks about it in the Bible. And I think that to always remember that there's nothing new under the sun. Somebody's probably passed this way before. Just the other day, I was talking to a fellow conference president. We were commiserating about some financial challenges that were happening, and it was just good to chat and to talk about how they're handling some of the issues. And so I think the first thing is know that you can get counseling and mentoring from other people. Obviously, you spend a good amount of time in prayer in regards to those things, and to not make decisions too quickly. Sometimes we can act, and I tend to be a little, over my years, I've learned to not be quite so impetuous as I probably was in some of my younger years, is to be a little bit less impetuous and to really be, it doesn't have to be, if it's not an emergency, take your time. Take your time and think it through. And, you might have people agitating for an answer, but if it's not important, if it's not that time, then take your time, pray it through, talk over it with other people, and go from there.
All right. Well, as you're putting your finishing touches on this masterpiece of yours, any final advice? Any final pieces that you want to give to young people, older people, parents? I think for parents, I read a statistic the other day about parenting that, my kids are all grown and living lives on their own. But I think that parents need to remember, I think it's by the age of 12, you spent 75% of the time that you will with your children. Once they get away to high school or whatever, they start, and it's a natural thing. It's not like they're hated you or anything. They just start drifting away. They start doing other things. They have other interests. And so be sure you spend the quality time. And quality time is
is, you know, they say that one of the best memories that kids will have is when you go camping with your kids or do outdoor things with your kids. And I think that those are really important to make as many memories with your kids, because when they go through some troubled times, they know they can come back and talk to you because they've been through some fun stuff with you.
Awesome. Well,
do I show this
do
to
you
the
want to
camera?
show this to the camera? Show us your masterpiece, and it is a very abstract masterpiece.
Very abstract. I passed my art class. I do want to say, when I was in college, I passed my art class, but it was pottery, and I love pottery.